Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I am Rosemary Levesque, your host today. My website is secondnaturehealing.com. So if you find me there, it's easy enough for you to connect. And we have here today, gosh, so many friends who are interested in health and healing and natural ways. And some of you know me pretty well, and others are kind of new friends. So I appreciate you all being here. Thank you. And by the way, I love your background, Caesar. I think that's cool and fun. Uh, and you are in California in that area, aren't you?
I yes, I am. I'm in San Diego. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Yes. I'm in
Okay,
I'm in I'm
awesome.
in San Diego, California. Yep, that's where I'm at.
Wonderful. And Diane, where are you located?
I am in Florida, the space coast of Florida, the East Coast.
Okay, Florida. I don't think I knew that. And I see Irva has joined us by phone. Thank you for being here, Irva. It's
Yeah,
always nice for you to join
yeah,
us.
sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Thank you.
No
I'm
worries.
delighted to
And
be here.
just so you
Irma,
know,
you're in Alabama?
I am recording the call, Irva, just so you know, okay?
Okay,
All
thank
right. Okay, good. Yeah, she's in at least her accent is in Alabama. Yeah, she's in
Mhm.
Alabama.
you. I'm in
Well,
Montgomery.
that's right,
Good.
Montgomery. And Bev, thank you for joining us. Has the snow cleared out of PE Island yet?
Oh, we've lost a lot today. We lost a few feet,
You
but
lost a few feet of snow today.
in the last day or two, yeah, it
In the
just
last,
rained. It went to from +2 way down to the minuses, -7 now. It's getting colder.
Ooh.
It's supposed to have a little snow tonight, but nothing like we
okay.
lost.
So I'm just asking everybody here where they're from. And Carrie, where are you from now? I can't remember. Where did you say?
In Pennsylvania,
Oh,
near the
that's
post.
right,
My goodness.
Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. Okay. So the thing is, we're from all over the place, and we all have the same concerns. We all have the same desire to be healthy and well and to help other people be healthy and well in a natural way. And I have to tell you, some of the conversations I've had over the last few days, including with Caesar, who is here, um, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same wavelength of wanting to take care of ourselves as long as we can. And I'm going to give you a few words that I've used over the last few days. So if you've heard this, my apologies, but I think it's kind of brilliant. If you look at the whole spectrum of the lifespan, some people call it the health span. I want to call it the lifespan here for a moment, where you've got kids these days who are often on inhalers. You ask any teacher in the elementary school age, how many kids are on inhalers? How many kids
Yeah.
are on medications for something, right? And and unfortunately, I have been to events for kids cancer, raising money for kids cancer awareness. Because why? Because there are so many kids in trouble. Okay, so that's the kids end of the spectrum. And by the way, we're seeing this with animals too. Our pets are on medications, they're getting cancers at younger and younger ages. Uh, I can't tell you how, yes, I can. You probably know how heartbreaking it is to have an animal you love, 2 years old, 4 years old, and there's some kind of horrible diagnosis that is happening. So on the young end of the spectrum, we are seeing crisis after crisis. And on the elder end of the spectrum, we are seeing a host of situations where brain fog and dementia, people are forgetting who they are. They're on a handful of pills, medications, not necessarily vitamins. They are having to monitor all kinds of things with frequent visits to the doctor and blood work. They are in trouble. And big buildings are being built for their problems because these are the baby boomers now. The baby boomers are an aging population. And those big buildings are for assisted living and nursing homes and cancer care. And, you know, why do we need that? Because everybody all around, everybody here from everywhere, we are experiencing the same problem, and that is toxicity. That is a pollution problem, not only with the planet, but a pollution within. In fact, there is an article from the Environmental Working Group. If you don't know the Environmental Working Group, I suggest you have a look, ewg.org. They have an article that they published, I believe it was in 2007, Body Burden, Pollution in Newborns. They tested the umbilical cord blood from newborn babies and found more than 250 toxins in those babies. And that was back in 2007. And here it is, 2024. We haven't changed much, except maybe gotten a little worse, right? National Geographic has its own articles that they've published as well. National Geographic, I think that one was entitled The Pollution Within. And so you can find these articles. The awareness back then was, it was kind of shocking. People were shocked. I know I was shocked when somebody said to me, Rosemary, you probably have heavy metals. I go, huh? What? Nobody ever told me that. And, you know, I was a biology teacher. Of course I had heavy metals. I lived in South Korea for 3 years. Of course I have had heavy metals. Chemistry labs, formaldehyde, medical equipment, and oh my God. Yeah, of course. And I painted creosote on wood fence posts when I was a kid. What heavy metal is in that? Arsenic. Yeah. Did you get any fillings in your mouth? Yeah. Mercury. They call them amalgam fillings or silver fillings because of the color, but they're more than 50% mercury. So of course you've got mercury. And if you go to a study done by the University of Calgary, you would find a really good 4-minute video. If you want that video, I'll send it to you. The video shows you how a little pencil eraser on a mercury filling sends off a plume of smoke, quote unquote smoke. It's not smoke, it's mercury molecules. You can see it with a green screen behind it. So that was with an extracted tooth. But if you have those teeth in your mouth with mercury fillings, yeah, and you're rubbing your tongue over the mercury fillings, that's just like a pencil eraser touching a mercury filling with a plume of quote unquote smoke. So how many people have or have ever had mercury fillings in their mouth?
Yeah.
How many dentists are still doing that practice? One of the heavy metals that we get when fires happen, when trees burn, is the world in trouble now with forest fires, climate change? A lot of trees are burning. Do you know what trees give off? Mercury. So if you're breathing the air from burning trees, you're breathing mercury. And it's not just mercury. Coal burning. Is any city in the United States or Canada using coal for burning, for heat, for electricity? Here in Portland, Oregon, a few years ago, 40% of our electricity came from coal burning. What do you get from coal burning? Mercury. Bad stuff. So I hope I'm scaring you a little bit. And a lot of you know this, but I know we have some guests today, and I just want to make sure I cover some of the basics that scare people, or I don't want to shake people up, but I only want to shake you up enough so that you say, okay, now what can I do about this? Now, back in 2002, a book was published. I have it here. Detoxify or Die, written by a doctor, Dr. Sherry A. Rogers. And 2002 was before we had the study on the newborns, before the Environmental Working Group did their study. It was before Rick Deitch gave us our minerals for detoxification. And so if you pick up this book, honestly, I don't know if it's still in print or not, but if you pick up this book, be prepared to try to digest about 400 pages. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. It's pretty sciencey. And there's a lot of good stuff in here, but remember, it's before Rick. It's before our biochemist came through with a solution to our body's pollution. Because what we have is a world in trouble, and we have to become aware. This is step one. You got to be aware of this stuff, which is why I'm spending a little bit of time on it. Be aware of what's going on around you and what's happening personally to you. Second step, avoid. Try to avoid as much as you can. In other words, don't have air fresheners in your home. Don't go to the dry cleaners. Don't, you tell me, what are some of the things that you really should probably not do if you can avoid it?
Dryer sheets.
Oh yeah, I add dryer sheets to your laundry. No, not a good idea. All those chemicals, no.
Yeah.
What else?
Microwave popcorn in bags and a lot of packaged foods in bags. I mean, we try to stay away from those anyway. The FDA just now declared them to be removed. The packaging that has PFAS in it.
Okay.
That's going to take a few years, I'm sure.
So they just banned it, is what you said.
Just now. It was in the news today. Yeah, just now.
Interesting. So what you're saying, Diane, is it, and I'm just going to expand on this thought, is things will get banned once they have been shown to be harmful. But in the meantime, they're allowing stuff to be used, sold, promoted until it's proven guilty, right?
Cosmetic
And
products,
even
dental
then, it's
floss,
still out.
body moisturizers, non-stick cookware. There's a whole list. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Irva, you want to say
Plastic
something?
bottled
Yeah.
water.
Something I do, not because I am a germaphobe. I use Lysol products, and I know I shouldn't do it, but I can't get away from them because I have germophobia.
Well, we have options. There are safer options for killing germs.
Yeah.
For example, essential oils will kill germs. You can use
I use
essential-
vinegar a lot.
Vinegar is
I use
great.
apple cider vinegar, and I use white vinegar to wash everything. I
Yep.
drink apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon in water after meals for digestion. I've never had indigestion. My mother lived to be 101. She drank a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and water after meals. Never had indigestion, and she's very healthy all her life.
Well, Irva, you're one of our walking miracles. So anytime you want to say what you're doing, we're going to listen. I think that's wonderful.
I just don't feel like anything else as good as Lysol. I'm pretty careful about the gloves and things, but
well, what do hospitals use? They use silver. And so we have nano silver. Nano silver can kill all of those germs. There are natural plant products, like I said, essential oils, even lemon essential oil will kill a lot of germs, cinnamon. So I'm not really,
Well,
you know,
that's the only thing
if Lysol is your one thing, okay, we'll let you have your Lysol, but be aware of even the aerosol component to it. You know, there's stuff that's a propellant in there that really isn't good for our ozone, you know, or our ozone layer or the environment or what you are inhaling. So I would encourage you to find another solution. So what else would you want to avoid?
Plastic and bottled water.
Yes, Caesar, plastics and bottled water. Phthalates and dioxins are some of the hugest, most dangerous cancer-causing substances, Teflon coating and so forth. And yet these are ubiquitous, not only in what we're using in our homes, but they're everywhere in the environment. And so if we are dealing with environmental pollution, not just outside our door, but inside our door too, we have a little bit of control over what's going on inside. However, we bought furniture, we bought carpeting. Do you have wood finishing on your floors? There's another book, it might be out of print. Am I showing my age here? How long I've been doing this? The 100-Year Lie. Do you have that book? Try to find it at the library. The 100-Year Lie. And that one will go over all the toxins and how we were lied to about how these things are fine, but it will tell us how toxic we are. So we can't ignore it. Rick says we can run, but we cannot hide. We've got chemtrails in the air, industrial pollutants everywhere. Mother's breast milk would be considered a hazardous waste.
Oh, God.
Remember the story about somebody cleaning out their closet or and found some Hostess Twinkies or something
That were still good, looked
from years ago, and they were still succulent.
Oh,
They were
preservatives.
still soft.
Would you like to preserve your own body? Well,
so preservatives, certainly preservatives.
Well, a lot of the things that are in this book that Dr. Rogers talks about for detoxification. So now we're on to the step 3 is, okay, step 1 is become aware. Step 2 is try to avoid as much as possible. And that includes processed foods. That includes the plastics and the additives and the preservatives and all that stuff. Try to avoid that. Try to avoid mercury fillings and the preservatives that are added to vaccinations. You know, that can cause a lot of trouble too, right?
Excuse me, Rosemary, I don't know of any dentist that uses mercury fillings anymore. Not for years. I haven't had mercury fillings. The ones I've been to, they don't even try to put mercury. They use something else. They don't use mercury fillings anymore.
Well, you're talking to the right people then. But there are still many dentists, many people in that profession who are dealing with mercury. If they're not putting them in, they're taking them out, and they still have mercury. Yeah. Try testing for mercury on their curtains and their walls. They are loaded with mercury dust, loaded with mercury. And the people
I haven't had mercury fillings in 20 years.
And so the people who work in those offices, those dentist offices where they have been removing mercury, maybe following protocol, maybe not. Following protocol would be to have an air filter. Bev, you're shaking your head. No, they're not following protocol, are they? No? Tell us about that.
Well, my dentist that I have now will remove some. Well, I have to go next week to get some removed, but she's not prepared at all, so I'm educating her next week.
Well, there's an organization called the IAOMT, IAOMT.org. and it is an organization of mercury-free dentists. So if you're looking for a dentist who is mercury-free and they follow that protocol, they will be members of that organization. So that's how you can find a dentist there.
Yes, I realize that. Just being on Prince Edward Island is with 180,000 people is not always an option. So you go to the cleanest one you can find, right?
Right, not always an option. I understand. And I believe they go through the protocol on that website. So that's a great place to begin education. Okay, make sure there's a dam in your mouth to catch all the fillings. Make sure there's an air filter. Make sure you're getting oxygen. And I would add one more make sure you have your bottle of Cell Defender right there, so that before and after, and maybe even during your appointment, you're taking your mineral for detoxification.
Oh, I do that. They're quite familiar.
Yes, right.
Well, I think Prince Edward Island must seem to be behind some places in the United States, because I don't have any of that in my dentist.
Oh, they're Canada, Irva. That's in Canada.
I know, but down here in the United States, we are, I don't have, like, I'm in Alabama, and that's not the great, some people call that a backward state, but I haven't been involved in anything like mercury in years.
Well, ask them what they use for root canals. Mercury is used in root canals too.
I ain't had a root canal in years. I have partial, I had inherited bad teeth. I have healthy gums, but I don't have any root canals in my mouth.
Well, like I said, Irva,
now, I have had them in the past. I've had them in the past, but I don't have them anymore.
Okay. Well, you know, that's part of who you are and what you have learned along the way, and what you've learned to avoid, what you've learned to be aware of with your medical background. You're far ahead of many people out there in the world who don't realize the problem of toxicity and the effects that toxins can have on us. So, you know, you're able to make some choices that are working for you. So where I wanted to go today, besides, you know, a little bit about this book, Detoxify or Die, she goes into all of the old ways of detoxification, nutritional detox and infrared saunas. And that's what people who are thinking about detox are looking toward. If they haven't heard about the best way to detox, they're learning about some way to detox. And what inspired the topic for this conversation today was a friend of mine who I know is in a little bit of trouble with some kind of diagnosis that she's got. It's not a big C, it's not the bad cells, but it's something else going on with her body. And so after I talked to her and encouraged her to come back on board with detoxification, I saw that there was a post she made about some detox stuff that she was doing. What was it? It was water with turmeric and cayenne pepper and lemon. And I said, oh my gosh, how did I miss this? Right? How did I miss giving the message so that it would really sink in? And, you know, she's not really doing anything different from what's in this book. She's not. She's doing a nutritional cleanse, right? In the hopes that it'll give her the results that she wants.
It won't.
And you know, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. You know, you've got stuff in your kitchen that can help you, sure, but that's kind of an old way of doing things, because what we have now is better. What we have now will pretty much erase all of that concern about detox symptoms, detox side effects, and other things. So one of the quotes in this book is, and it's in bold, by the way, bold, right here. For chemicals that do get detoxified, it is still no free ride. The work of detoxifying uses up and depletes nutrients. Right here. Does our detoxification deplete nutrients? No. Bev, tell us more.
It just absorbs, contains and eliminates heavy metals and toxins, and it just leaves everything else that's good.
Isn't that incredible? That's like a miracle, isn't it? Isn't it wonderful?
It is a miracle.
Because what she's talking about here in this book is, okay, if you're going to do a detox, like my friend is doing, this nutritional cleanse or whatever you want to call it, there are lots of them, right? There are green drinks and there's all this other stuff. If you're going to do that, be prepared because it's going to pull out all your nutrients too. You're going to get depleted. And I've seen this with infrared saunas or just hot saunas. I've seen it with foot baths. I've seen it with, anything across the board. When they try to detox you or help you detox, or you're doing it yourself, you're getting depleted. It's pulling out the good and it's moving the bad around. Do you see what's going on here? If they're taking out the good and they're moving all the bad stuff around, it's making the liver try to reprocess it all over again. It's making the kidneys work harder. It's giving you symptoms of feeling these toxins all over again. And your body has to work really hard to do that. Yeah. What if you had to clean your house? I'm just kind of giving you an image here for a minute. What if you had to clean your house? Let's say you had bookshelves everywhere, right? And you said, you know what, I want to clean out this whole room. I want to get rid of all these books. And you start taking books off the shelf and you throw them all over the floor. Okay? They're all over the floor now. You've got books and papers everywhere, all over the floor. You wipe down your bookshelves. They're all nice and clean. And then you say, oh, you know what? I don't want to get rid of all those. I think I'll keep a few. And so you start sorting through the mess and you start picking up a book here and a book there and you put it back. Might there be a better way to get that job done? I mean, a less messy way maybe, right? Rather than messing up the whole house with all the trash that you don't want. So that's what, I hope that image sticks with you. That's what an old way of detoxing would look like. You're messing up the whole house to try to get rid of some of the things that you don't want and keep the things that you do want. Is that image sticking at all with you? I wouldn't clean house like that, by the way. I just wouldn't do it like that. I would do a section at a time. But if I had a vacuum cleaner like this, I would use that. That's my vacuum cleaner. That's my trash collector. So let's go into the way to do it, right? It saves time, it saves money, it saves frustration, it gets you the results that you want. It doesn't make your liver work harder, doesn't make your organs in your body work harder. It gets rid of what you want and it keeps what you want. Yeah. So what do you want to keep? You want to keep your calcium and magnesium. You want to keep, what else do you want to keep?
All the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to keep iron. You want to keep what?
Copper.
Calcium,
selenium. You want to keep those minerals, right? Those minerals are good. In fact, you are encouraged to supplement. If you're going to supplement with minerals, those are some of the minerals that are talked about, right? You need calcium, you need selenium, you need these, right? And what do you want to get rid of? There's a big list.
Lots of mercury.
Cadmium, lead,
arsenic,
aluminum,
VOCs.
volatile organic compounds like from paint, PFOAs from Teflon, arsenic, yes. So those are the things that you want to get rid of and you can get rid of. So it just takes a few drops a few times a day, and this is how you clean your system. Gradually, safely, no detox symptoms. Now, what happens if you do that? What happens if you're able to pull out the toxins? What happens to this vessel, this body?
It says thank you.
Yeah. Thank you in the form of better sleep.
No.
Yeah. More
Digestion,
energy.
everything.
Yeah. Healing your gut, clear thoughts, ability to think. So now when we talk about the spectrum of very young to very old, we can say, oh yeah, these kids are the way they're supposed to be. They're running around healthy. They're not on any medications. They're not needing inhalers. They're good. They've got a strong healing system, strong immune system, strong system working, everything working in their body. And what happens in the form of thank you with our aging population, it means, okay, well, we get to keep our grandparents around to play with the grandchildren. They can run alongside the bike because they can. They can do puzzles and they can have conversations and tell stories and go to the zoo. And in other words, be active in that lifestyle because they can, because they're not on a handful of medications or in the fight for their lives. And that's really what we're looking for. Now, when I told this to a friend yesterday about this age, you know, what we're looking for, she had the best answer, the best follow-up to that. She said, and it's the ones in the middle who tell everybody. I said, yes, that's how it works, right? The ones in the middle, and she used the word distribute. It's the ones in the middle who distribute this information, who tell everybody. And I thought, wow, this is perfect because we need people who have voices. We need people who are like you, who are on the same page as all of us, who say, wow, this is important. Why would we give up our power to a, yeah. I was going to say white coat. I was going to say white coat. That's not very fair, is it? Why would you give up your power to an authority figure who has one way of doing things that may not be in alignment with your way of doing things? That's really what we're talking about here is what are you in alignment with? Are you in alignment with a natural way of healing, a natural way of supporting your healing system? Or are you more in alignment with saying, fix me? Yes, I'll take that medication. Yes, I'll have that surgery. Yes, I'll, you know, whatever. And if you need that, okay, sure. Integrate it with what you really believe, which is healing. Yeah, that's what we're talking about is healing. I think I've kind of stepped off my soapbox here for a second. I wanted to give you an opportunity to ask questions and to ponder some of the things that we've talked about. Tell me a story. Tell me what's going on with you, or what are you thinking about? What are you concerned about? Verva, I'm going to mute you. There. Well, I'll tell you, go ahead, Star.
I'm concerned with the people who don't realize what this can really do, that are very dogmatic about pharmaceuticals and white coat terrorism, as I call it. And it's fear. They're scared to death that if they quit taking this medication, they're going to drop over and die the next day because they've been told they have to take that the rest of their lives. And that to me is tragic.
we've seen that quite a bit. And there are actually, I'm going to use the word spectrum again, if you don't mind. There are actually two ends of this spectrum. The one you're talking about is giving up your power, being on the medication the rest of your life, or the other end of it, which is, you know what, I'm going to figure this out on my own. And, you know, that's kind of me too. So
I'm amazed at the people who won't, that they absolutely believe this.
Well, you can speak to that, Star, because you've done it. So it's very good. You can expand on that because it's one thing we don't tell people, you know, but as they feel better and as their numbers improve, that's what Star has done. Just
Your
because
proof is in the numbers.
Tell us about your numbers, Star. There are people on this call who haven't heard about that.
All my numbers are normal. I had open heart surgery 3 years ago. I was considered diabetic, on 9 or 10 different medications. And as of right now, I'm not on anything but Avini. Nothing. My numbers are absolutely normal. My cholesterol is normal. My resting pulse is 58. I work out 2.5 hours after teaching a yoga class. I've never felt better in my life physically and mentally. A lot
How
of
long, so 3 years ago you had the heart event. And how long did it take for you to get the results that you were looking for?
I've done it every day since then. I started seeing real results after about a year. And it was almost as if I kept doing what I knew I needed to do. And I woke up one morning and felt great. And it was almost like someone switched a light switch on. I had kept doing it. And then all of a sudden, well, you remember I was having trouble with working on my Reiki Masters because my mind was.
That's right. You had to
It was
repeat.
almost like it was wired differently.
Yep. Well, part of that was what happened during your surgery, right? You were on one of those machines, what do they call it?
Machine for about 8 hours.
And that messes with your brain.
It really messes with you.
Yeah. So it took a while. So that message is really important, mainly because of the 1 year time frame. Now, what you also said earlier was some people are being told you need to be on this medication the rest of your life, right? So the rest of your life on a medication, or give it a year,
and
maybe even a month or 2 or 3 months. But if you give it a year and you can wake up and all of a sudden you're a new person, wow, what if you had given up after 3 months?
Not an option.
Well, some people say, I want to try this, right?
And I think some people are looking for a really quick fix, and that may happen with some people. They may get an immediate result, and glory to them. I hope they do. Mine took longer. But there
Well,
were
with
a lot of
Marcy,
issues.
with Marcy, about 30 days to get out of stage 4 trouble. 30
So
days.
all that tells me that all of the medications and all of the things I had been doing had built up a really heavy toxic load.
Yes, yes. And it took time to reverse that. So
Takes
that's
time.
another good point. If you are born toxic, as today's babies are born toxic, and they've been born toxic for a bunch of years now, if you're born that way, you're starting out with not a clean slate and you're accumulating.
That's
now
an uphill battle.
Yes, and one of the accumulations that we can reflect on is, hey, how many vaccinations did you get when you were a kid? Right? I think we had Bev and I and Marilyn, and you can remember getting like the polio drops, right?
And smallpox.
Yeah. It is shifting. Yeah. So now, how many vaccinations do little kids get?
A ton of them. They get them all at once also.
Yeah.
All at once. Unless you're dealing with a naturopathic doctor who has a different kind of plan, a different way of administering vaccines, one at a time with weeks apart. Let's detoxify also in the meantime. They're trying to do something right. And maybe they're bending the needle in the other direction. They're trying to protect the children from having all the childhood diseases that, hey, I had. I survived measles, chickenpox. Not everybody does, but I did. And okay, maybe our kids don't have to go through that. But do they have to go through all of those vaccinations all at once on that schedule? Well, maybe
And that
not.
little tiny baby.
Well, it's really hard on the immune system. Now, remember I mentioned at the beginning of the call, animals. What we are seeing in animals is magnified because they are smaller, they have a shorter lifespan, they are walking barefoot through, they're crossing the street, they're getting benzene on their paws, fertilizers, pesticides, flea treatments, all of this stuff, processed food, kibble crap, I call it kibble crap. So that they're even in a more serious crisis. And I remember when my kids were little and we took our little puppy to the vet, and the vet said, and he brought out this piece of paper, here's the vaccination schedule. Boom, 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 boom. This year, this year, this year, this year. Just the whole life planned out. Well, it nearly killed her. Nearly killed her. It taxed her so much. She became diabetic. She developed cancer. And what saved her life?
Yeah.
This saved her life. So
I think one of the profound things that I heard Rick say, and you'll all agree with this, that pharmacy has come out with medication to handle the effects of medication that you took. I mean, is that ridiculous? I mean, you take this and then you have a problem. Well, take this then, and that problem that was caused from the other thing that you took. Well, I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
I met someone with that situation today.
You did, Bev. Tell us more.
Well, he was taking medication for diabetes and a few things, and then he was on this other medication. I don't like naming names or name things, so and so he had to take other medication for that. He said, I don't really have high blood pressure, but because I'm on this medication, I have to take it, and yada yada. So it was on.
The interesting thing with all of that is the similarity that we're seeing of medications between humans and animals. The vets don't have anything different for pain or antibiotics or anything. It's all the same stuff that they're giving to the animals. Now, for cats, they could probably easily kill a cat with pain medication that they have because cats can't process that. But what do? They give it to them anyway.
Maybe that's to appease the owner, thinking the animal's better.
No, it's for the money.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's all about the money.
Driven. It is money driven. Okay, well, since you use the word money, let's talk about money for a minute. Can you save a lot of money if you do it yourself? Water, turmeric, lemon, cayenne pepper, a little honey. Yeah. Could you save some money? Yes. Would you get the results you want?
No.
Probably not. No, you definitely would not take out mercury, cadmium, and lead with that. You would not take out arsenic. You would not be effective at all in doing it that way.
What you do, Rosemary, is you go back to the situation that you explained in your house. You're just surfacing all the toxin, mixing them up. You dump some of them out, and the rest settle back down.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked that visual.
I like that.
Move the furniture around. Same stuff in a different place.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens, Anne. It gets all mixed up and it shows up in people. You know what detox symptoms look like? Have you heard of what what are people afraid of when they're thinking about detox symptoms, side effects?
Diarrhea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Diarrhea, rashes, stuff coming through their skin, because toxins are going to try to get out of the body in any way possible. The easiest way to leave. If it's in the GI tract, that would be throwing up or pooping it out, diarrhea. Going to be a little graphic here. Coming through the skin, coughing, stuff coming through your lungs, your nose, in any way possible that it can come out, it will try to come out, because that's what the body wants to do. The body wants to just get rid of this stuff, right? But what if you had a little vacuum cleaner going through your body? Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't it be better if you had like millions of little kidneys floating around in your blood saying, oh, grab that, grab that, grab that? Yeah? That's
Just think of a robo machine. They have these on TV all the time, those little robo machines. Oh, it hits over here. Oh, goes there.
Exactly, because it floats with the blood. That's what it's a crystal. So I guess we can do the reveal now. What is this stuff? What is it? So it is Earth's detoxifier. When volcanoes erupted, spewing lava and ash into the earth, bringing out all those heavy metals from the core of the earth. And it flowed into the ocean, it mixed with seawater, something magical happened. And it made a crystal. It made a crystal called clinoptilolite, which is a kind of zeolite. And this zeolite immediately, when it was formed, began to pull heavy metals into its crystalline cage. And so it is Earth's detoxifier. And when Rick took zeolite from the mine, clinoptilolite from the mine, and he said, you know what, I'm going to see what I'm pulling out of this. I'm going to see. And he found all the heavy metals that were in there. And he found the exhaust from the mining equipment. So the diesel from the mining equipment was in the crystal. He was pulling it out. So do you have any diesel in you? Yeah. Yeah, you do. If you're breathing air, you've got some of those volatile organic compounds. You've got a little diesel in you too. So the priority is heavy metals, of course. It'll pull out heavy metals. And
work on allergies.
What about allergies?
Does it work on allergies?
Here's what we say about that. First of all, my husband will testify to that. He didn't notice anything in the first month or two. It wasn't really allergy season for us, but the next time allergy season came around, he said, you know what? I think that stuff works. I don't have any allergies. But what we like to think about is this. This stuff doesn't cure or fix anything. It's just really good at getting out the trash. And so what happens is the body is the miracle. The body knows how to heal. And so allergies are kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. You're toxic up to your eyeballs and you can't handle any more. So it starts showing up as what we call symptoms.
And different for everyone.
Right. Yes. In fact, there's a wonderful diagram. If you like, I'll try to find the diagram. I'll send it to everybody on the call. It shows where toxins land in the body. Where do they land? Remember, your body doesn't like to experience toxins, so it tucks them away and it hides them.
In fat cells?
Yes. Yes, in fat cells. Why is it so hard for some people to lose weight? Because your fat cells are saying, no, 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 I can't dissolve. Because I'm holding on to these toxins for you. I'm hiding them for you. So where do you have fat? Besides the middle, right?
Yeah.
Brain. Breast.
Mm.
Yeah. Any, coating on the muscles, that will be a little bit of fat. Also in the nerves, you have a nice fat protection. So yeah, it's hidden in fat. It's hidden in the joints. Yes, Carrie.
You mentioned breast cancer, well, I guess you were leading on to breast cancer. My older sister lives on Long Island, and she had breast cancer twice before the age of 60. And a lot of people on Long Island get breast cancer, Long Island, New York. So, I think it's something in the environment there that's causing it. It just made me think of when you talk about toxic, that obviously something in the air or the ground or the water that's, causing it.
You're in Pennsylvania and they're in Long Island. So there are lots of mining areas along the East Coast. Lots of mining. Yeah. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we get the airstream from China. And so all of the pollution from China is coming over and raining down on us. So even the lakes in the high mountains in the pristine areas are loaded with mercury from China. And so what we're seeing here is a lot of thyroid issues, thyroid cancers. We're also seeing MS and Parkinson's. We're seeing those kinds of neurological disorders here in the Pacific Northwest. Also cancer. Yeah, lots of cancer here.
So if I might add, since I had it, to do with the breast, it's the fatty tissue too, so it absorbs and hides there. It's one of the places where our chemicals will hide, as we just spoke about, in fat. And so we have a lot of adipose tissue in our breasts and tends to hide there. And so we have stories, to do with those that are positive. Some people don't even have the surgery and they're well now. And we have some amazing stories like that. So I found the product after, but it was good. And someone asked about allergies, and that's where it gave me my life back because I could hardly go outside sometimes. And I have people.
Tell us about that, Bev. What do you mean you got your life back and you couldn't go outside? Tell us what that was like.
Well, one, I had fatigue so severe that I couldn't function more, and I couldn't get around a big, large grocery store, and I had to lean on the grocery carts to get around. I couldn't drive for more than 10 to 20 minutes, and that I was done. I had to focus my energy around that. And so if there was trees, my neighbor said trees, if those trees blossomed at certain time of the year, those couple of weeks or 3 weeks, I could not go outside the house. And lots of things like that. So, and I remember one time traveling with someone before I got really sick and traveling with them. And I said, there's gotta be a diesel truck somewhere. They said, there's nothing in sight. And then we went over a hill and another hill, and there was one we met. They said, I can't believe it. I said, well, that's the way it is with my life.
You're sensitive. Yeah. You're sensitive. So does anybody have trouble walking down the detergent aisle in a grocery store?
I couldn't.
Yeah.
No. Even as a little kid, I couldn't do it. I'd tell my mother, I'll meet you in the next aisle. Couldn't do it. Right. So we get sensitive to these things. And I'm just saying, honor your sensitivity. And also, that's part of your awareness. That's part of step one. Your awareness of what you're avoiding, trying to avoid, what your body is telling you, no, 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 don't breathe that, don't use that, don't go there. Yeah, that's part of your awareness. You have to pay attention to that. So to answer your question, Anne, does it work for XYZ? Yes. because whenever you take out the toxic body burden, whenever you remove that level of toxicity, your body remembers how to heal. Mm-hmm. And it's always remembered. It never forgot how to heal. It's just, as Star would say earlier in the call, you're trying to swim upstream, right? It's harder to do it that way. But if you can reduce that toxic burden and begin to notice the results in the form of, I'll say it again, better sleep, more energy, clear thinking.
Better digestion, better skin.
Yeah. Yes. Can I tell a story about digestion?
Yes.
My husband and I, we love our ice cream. And I was buying organic. And well, then it's like $2 more. And so, well, Tillamook tasted pretty good. And we didn't have a little bit. We had a good size every night for 6 weeks, 2 months probably, every night. And I started on that Valasta that I had told you about earlier. And I was afraid to fart because I would have a loaded fart. And I blamed it on the other stuff. And then I said, common sense hits me. And I said, maybe you should back off because that's not organic, whatever. I stopped the ice cream, didn't buy any more, didn't buy any ice cream. 6 weeks later, I started having more formed stool. But for 6 weeks there, I was like, oh my goodness. And I know it was the toxic crap in the ice cream.
Food's full of toxins.
Oh, I know.
Well, and Anne, we can't ignore the amount of sugar that's in there also.
And fake sugar.
Yes, and people's sensitivity to thickeners that might be added, guar gum, for example, or even the lactose, being sensitive to milk sugars in particular, because those are feeding the bad bacteria. We have good and bad bacteria in our gut. And so who do you want to feed? Do you want to feed the good bacteria, all the fiber stuff, or do you want to feed the bad bacteria and the yeast in your blood and the parasites in your liver? Do you want to feed them, the crappy ice cream? So you get to choose here. That everything is a choice.
Yes, that's the key thing.
Yeah.
And responsibility for yourself. And so many people I'll just take a pill for this or that, whatever. I have a coworker, she's on 3 blood pressure medications because they can't control it. Just is racing like crazy. And she's on 3 different ones.
Well, maybe you want to have a chat with her about what you're learning here.
Yeah. Well, I'm allergic to cats, and I have 7 of them because I love cats, and I live with those allergies. But house dust mites, mold, and cat. And I tell you, I could be a mold detector. We had a water leak, a bad install, and they came and they aired the house with fans and all that stuff. And a week later, I come in my little office here, and I said, I can smell wet basement. Because I lived in Iowa, I know what a wet basement smells like. And he didn't smell anything. I said, nah, I smell it. I can tell. Sure enough, they came back. It was still damp. I said, I got a good nose because it's sensitive. And I don't like that, But
you yourself are sensitive, Anne.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are sensitive. And so I believe to some degree, everybody is sensitive, and we become more sensitive and more aware once we begin to educate ourselves, once we begin to detoxify. We can begin to see clearly, know clearly, feel clearly, and that's the direction I want to go in. That's where I'm heading. So on the end of the spectrum, I want to run and play with my grandchildren. I want to be there when they're having soccer games. I want to be a part of their lives for a long, long time, and be a fun part of their lives, not I got to go take care of grandma. Right? Hey, I'm going to end the recording here so we can talk freely, and you can ask any questions that you may not have wanted to ask or make a comment. And I just want to express my appreciation for all of you being here. Anybody who wants to continue the conversation or talk about pets or kids or whatever, let's do that. Okay. I'm very reachable. Here, let's stop the recording. Thank you.